Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's go over the market. I'll give you my thoughts moving forward on NVIDIA stock, what we can expect moving forward and all of that good stuff. So as per usual, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., well, I do share my thoughts with my members every single day the market is open. That link, of course, is down below in the description of the video. For just $3 a month, you get access to all my thoughts, post updates, mainly on Tesla stocks, sometimes other stocks as well. Or for $5 a month, you get access to everything in the first tier, plus my NVIDIA daily updates to my members. Every single day the market is open, especially in the morning, the first like 2-3 hours of the day. That's where most of the action is usually for the markets. But yeah, so that link is below. Definitely check it out. But we'd also have you there. But jumping into it, NVIDIA with another green day, closing about 3% on the day, closing at 128.68 per share, which is obviously pretty damn good. Potentially printing a hanging man candle. Hanging man candle Bukowski. Let's take a look at this hanging man candle. On the hanging man candle. Let's take a look. What is this? What exactly does this pattern mean? A lot of people actually view this pattern as a bearish reversal pattern. I don't personally view it as a bearish reversal pattern, but I don't necessarily view it as a bullish continuation either. So if you look at Bukowski here, theoretical performance is a bearish reversal. However, Tesla performance is a bullish continuation 59% of the time. So pretty much a coin flip. For the most part, pretty useless, right? Pretty useless. I just figured I want to mention that because you might see some people talking about this being a hanging man candle, reversal pattern to the downside. But again, I think it's a useless. I'll be completely honest. I think it's a useless pattern. From what I've noticed, it doesn't serve much purpose one way or the other. But let's see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays out. NVIDIA, you can see several gap ups and hardly closing those gaps as well, which is usually pretty bullish as well. And on the 1 hour chart, it actually did outperform what I expected, right? It did end up pushing rather past my kind of 127, 128-ish resistance level. It held for quite a bit. It didn't, wasn't sure if it wanted to, but then towards the end of the day, it ended up finally pushing, more convincingly past 128, closing out, of course, 128 and change. Now, this goes without saying still, right? The 1 hour time frame, I'll still admit it, right? Despite it, looking pretty bullish and, we could potentially test 130 tomorrow. We are a little bit overextended on the 1 hour. You can see the RSI and the stochastic on the 1 hour chart are well above their means. And, we're obviously very close to the upper end of the Bollinger Band. So, we could get a little bit more of a push, closer to 130. But, I do think the upside short term, at least, is still a little bit more limited from here, especially considering where it was. I mean, literally just a few days ago, right? That's where I'm a lot more interested at buying, when the levels are looking like this and the RSI is down here and the Bollinger Bands are down here versus when, it's all the way up here, right? This is where I buy and this is not where I buy. This is instead where I'm either selling or at the very least selling cash or I'll cover calls, which I do have cover calls. Might even sell my shares tomorrow, depending on how things go. We'll see. But, just figured I'd mention that, right? So with all this being said and done, let's go back to let's do the daily chart here. Let's take a look. Actually, we'll do the 4 hour chart first, right? The 4 hour chart. What is the 4 hour chart looking like? Well, 4 hour chart, we're pretty much back to where we were not that long ago, back all the way over here, right? Obviously with showing some decent strength, but nonetheless, still back to where we were back here. And what does this mean? Well, unfortunately, again, like I said, NVIDIA, back when it was down at these levels, much more convincing of an area to essentially long the stock, right? Up here, this is not where you long the stock, right? This is not where you're supposed to be buying. Again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Maybe you buy the stock here and it goes to 140 next week. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. But in terms of risk reward, right? You don't buy at a resistance. We're currently at a resistance, right? Whether it was that 128-ish level, whether it's starting pretty much from even here up to about, again, the low 130s, right? This kind of 127, 128 to about 132, 33-ish range, that $5-ish range, we'll say, is a massive area of supply. Again, back here, massive area of support, even technically back at these levels here, you can see, honestly, I can probably take this thing and I can probably move it across all the way like this and then move it slightly up and then probably just ultimately remove this line total, like fully, right? And you can look at it something like this, right? Look at this, beautiful, right? Look how many times we've come into this box or at least very close to it and bounced substantially, right? Decent bounces from these ranges. This area was an absolutely astronomical level of support for NVIDIA. And now we're coming back into it, which normally, you would expect this to start acting as a resistance. So just keep that in mind, right? We are entering some turbulent areas. Starting now, really, I mean, more or less still starting now. We could, of course, go a little bit higher. Maybe we do test 130 itself. But For NVIDIA to really, really reclaim its, true bullish thesis and, really become bullish once again, like low to mid 130s has to be reclaimed and visibly turned back into support. Otherwise, there is a chance that on the 4 hour, for instance, just because I like the visual here, it looks nice. There is a very real possibility that what we do is we go like this. We go maybe a little bit push higher. Get the bulls excited, get the bulls trapped a little bit, and then make our way back down. Right? Now, if we break the high that we set back here at about, what was the high here? This high was about 129. If we break 129, that actually could be a good sign. And I'll go over something in the weekly very soon that, if you talk about an ultra bull case for a true bullish reversal, there is something to worth mentioning, which we'll go over soon. But assuming we don't get that, there is a good chance that we reject somewhere around here, 130, give or take, of course. And then we make a move down, right? And that's where you start taking the Fibonacci. You'll draw from somewhere around wherever the top ends up actually being. And there's a damn good chance, we come back to retest 123 to as low as about 120 again. That, unironically becomes an actual possibility. Let's see though, let's see. We'll need to see that rejection first. We'll need to see an actual top signal. We're not seeing it yet, but if there's a place to form it, we're pretty much there, or, we're only a couple dollars away from an area that has the opportunity to potentially form a bearish reversal pattern and a bull trap, essentially. I'm not saying it's going to happen for sure, but if there was a place for it to happen, it's within this box roughly, right? Of course, give or take. Now, let's talk about the bullish perspective, right? Of something that can potentially really upset the bears. And what is that? Well, that's the weekly candle. Now, it depends on how tomorrow closes. So essentially, to make it simple, I want to see tomorrow close above at least 129, minimum 129, which is pretty much where NVIDIA is sitting at right now after hours. If NVIDIA can close above, keyword, close above 129, ideally a little bit higher, so it's, there's more wiggle room. What this could potentially print on the weekly time frame is going to be a very, very large weekly bullish engulfing candle. That'll be pretty bullish, actually. That would be bullish, and this pattern could be the strength that the bulls need to just blast past this 4 hour resistance point that I was just mentioning. That's a possibility. That is a possibility. But they need that close, above 129 tomorrow to print that bullish engulfing candle. Now, again, don't forget, a bullish engulfing candle doesn't mean it has to go right away. We could start next week with a little bit of a dip, still back to like 124, and then sharply rise after that, maybe midweek, and still continue with that bullish engulfing candle. Doesn't mean it has to go literally right away. Just keep that in mind, right? But nonetheless, that is something to watch out for, right? So if the bulls can do that, that would be a very promising sign. And bullish or bearish engulfing candles are very powerful candles. They're one of the more higher probabilities, statistically speaking, of candles that truly, function to its form, similar to how this bearish engulfing candle that we had back here performed absolutely phenomenally. This was actually one of the candles where I exited my position. I still remember this candle. As we were like 5 minutes from close, I was like, man, do I just hold my shares? I mean, I'm up on my shares, or do I just sell cover calls and, whatever, I'll just let it be. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to sell my shares. So, I'm not going to play the cover call game here, mainly because of this bearish engulfing candle. Obviously, that ended up being the right place. So I was, in hindsight, of course, I was very happy about that decision. I didn't expect it to fall this aggressively, of course, but it just shows you that, these bullish or bearish engulfing candles, if they do form, especially on a weekly time frame, they could be pretty powerful stuff, right? They could be powerful stuff. So let's see how this plays out tomorrow for the NVIDIA stock. Let's see if the bulls can really step in where it really matters and really push this thing back above that, the resistance level of about, high 120s to the low to maybe even closer to mid 130s. Crucial spot for that to happen. Let's see if we can make it happen, and let's see how it ends up actually performing overall moving forward. So that's probably the main thing I got for you right now, without overcomplicating things too much. Let's take a look at the options flow for NVIDIA. Got to refresh that quickly, go back in here, let's take a look. Yeah, pretty decent actually. Again, not super overwhelming like it usually is, right? 32 million compared to 8 million throughout the day of overall flow. So, it's not bad, but definitely a little bit light on the lighter end for NVIDIA compared to what it could be, I guess I should say. 10 million confirmed bearish flow on NVIDIA over here. And what else? There's something else I wanted to mention. I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, if I go back to just regular chatter flow here, some SPY puts came in towards the end of the day, and a pretty large VIX call actually came in right here. You can see throughout the day as well, almost $600,000 in premium for 4/16/2025, 31 strike on the VIX. So someone is expecting some volatility to kick in relatively soon. We have the weekend coming up. Last weekend, Trump, went crazy with tariffs, and it caused a lot of spooky stuff in the markets. And we have another weekend upon us. Let's see. I mean, we'll see if tomorrow, maybe some selling pressure comes in because of that. People don't want to hold into the weekend. I don't know. I'm not sure. But for NVIDIA, you know what to look out for. Again, we're in what could be very turbulent waters right here for NVIDIA. So let's see how we end up reacting around that general vicinity. But again, if there's a place to start finding some rejection, we're pretty much, especially with this after hours movement of another 0.5%, we're pretty much in that range right now, right? Where we, of course, had massive support before. So anyways, let's see how it goes. Let's see what we form. Let's see if we can close with a bullish engulfing candle tomorrow. And yeah, let's see. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.